Hello friends. In the last class we discussed on the definition of composites. What are the constituents of composites? Then we discussed on the functions of the constituents of the composites. Then we discussed on the different composites that are available in nature. Then we discussed on the requirements for a material to be called a composite. And finally we dealt with why should one go for composites. In this class, initially we will discuss on the details of how fiber reinforced composites are different from the metals. After that, I will be dealing into different fibers which are used as reinforcements in the composites. So here the fibers will be dealt only in brief. The details of these fibers which are used for reinforcing the matrix will be dealt in the other course on technical fibers. Okay. Now, many fiber reinforced polymers offer a combination of strength and modulus that are either comparable to or better than many traditional metallic materials. What this means is that in the next slide there is one table and you should focus only on column number 2 and 3 of that table, which is related to the absolute modulus and absolute strength of metals as well as that of the composites, right? And do not think about the density of metals or density of composites and the ratio of modulus to weight or ratio of strength to weight. So those things you don't consider. For now, you just focus on the absolute value. What is the actual value of strength and modulus for metals as well as composites. Now this is the table I was speaking about. So in this we'll be looking only into these two columns, this column on modulus and this column on tensile strength. We will not be dealing about the column on density, the yield strength and ratio of modulus to weight and ratio of tensile strength to weight. Now if you see the modulus of SAE 1010 steel, it is 207 gigapascal. Similarly for another kind of steel it is again 207 gigapascal. For aluminium alloy it is around 68.9 gigapascal. Another for aluminium alloy it is around 68.9 gigapascal. For titanium alloy it is 110 gigapascal. For stainless steel it is 196 gigapascal. For nickel alloy it is 207 gigapascal, right? So till here it is the modulus for metals. Now let us look into the modulus of composites. High strength carbon fiber epoxy matrix unidirectional means all the fibers are oriented in one direction. So its modulus is around 137.8 gigapascal. High modulus carbon fiber epoxy matrix, it is around 215 gigapascal. Then for E-glass epoxy, it is around 39.3 gigapascal. For Kevlar epoxy, it is around 75.8 gigapascal. For boron fiber and aluminium alloy matrix composite, it is around 220 gigapascal. For carbon fiber epoxy composite, it is around 45.5 gigapascal. And for sheet molding compound, which is isotropic in nature, you will be knowing what is sheet molding compound once we discuss the fabrication techniques of composites and why it is having a lower modulus of 15.8 gigapascal. Now if you see the values of modulus of composites are either comparable and in some cases even better than that of the metals. Similar is the trend for tensile strength. If you look into tensile strength, again for this steel it is 365 megapascal. For this steel it is around 1722 gigapascal. For aluminium alloy it is 310 megapascal. Again for aluminium alloy it is 606 megapascal. For titanium alloy it is 1171 megapascal. For stainless steel it is 1619 megapascal. For nickel alloy it is around 1319 megapascal. So till here it is the tensile strength for the metals. Now have a look at the tensile strength of composites. It is 1550 megapascal for carbon fiber epoxy composite. For high modulus carbon fiber epoxy, it is around 1240 megapascal. This was for high strength, this is for high modulus carbon fibers. E-glass fiber epoxy, it is 965 megapascal. For Kevlar epoxy, it is 1378 megapascal. For boron fiber aluminium matrix composite, it is 1109 megapascal. 579 megapascal for carbon fiber matrix, in which the matrix is epoxy. It is around 579 megapascal, and it is quasi-isotropic, means the fibers or the properties are quasi-isotropic in nature. And for sheet molding compound, it is 164 megapascal. Now, if you see, again, the strength values for composites are nearly same to that of the metals, or even better in some cases, right? Okay. Now, in the next slide, what we will be doing is that we will be comparing the modulus to specific weight. What is the specific weight? Specific weight is the product of density into acceleration due to gravity, right? So the ratio of modulus to specific weight is a product of density into acceleration due to gravity. So the value that is obtained by taking that ratio is reported here, right? Similarly, the ratio of tensile strength to, again, the specific weight. Again, I am saying that specific weight is the product of density into acceleration due to gravity. That is, if you divide 365 to the product of 7.87 into 9.8, you should be obtaining this value, right? So this is the ratio of tensile strength to specific weight, that is this to the product of 7.87 into 9.8, right? Similarly, it is for the modulus. Now we have seen that the absolute values of the tensile strength as well as the modulus for metals as well as composites are nearly same, and in some cases it is better for composites also, and in some cases it is better for metals also. But because of their low density, the strength to weight ratios and modulus to weight ratios of these composite materials are markedly superior to those of metallic materials. So in the next slide, what we'll be looking into, the ratio of the absolute value of modulus or the absolute value of strength to that of the specific weight. Again, I am saying the specific weight is the product of density into acceleration due to gravity, right? Now, if you take the product of, if you take the ratio of modulus, this 207, and divide it by the product of 7.87 into 9.8, you will obtain a value of 2.68. This is the ratio of modulus to specific weight, right? So if you see for metals, up to nickel alloy, it is in this range, 2.57, 2.54, 2.53, 2.6, 2.68. Now you come to composites. In composites, when you take the ratio of modulus, that is 137.8 gigapascal, to the specific weight, again that is the product of 1.55 into 9.8, in this case, you will obtain a value of 9.06, which is significantly higher than all these values, right? Similarly, if you look for high modulus carbon fiber epoxy matrix, the value is around 13.44, right? For E fiber epoxy, it is 2.16. For Kevlar fiber epoxy, it is 5.60. For boron aluminium matrix composite, it is 9.54. For carbon fiber epoxy matrix, it is 2.99. Now it is quasi-isotropic, not unidirectional. And sheet molding compound, it is 0.86. So you can appreciate the fact that the ratio of modulus to weight for the composites is significantly higher than that of the metals. You forget about this 0.86 because it is a quasi-isotropic, it is an isotropic material, and it is made up of short fibers, and that is why it is having a lower modulus. Its application is entirely different. But in all other cases, you will be seeing that the ratio of modulus to weight is significantly higher for composites when compared to that of the metals. What does this mean? This means that the composite will be able to provide similar modulus or a better modulus at a much lower weight when compared to that of the metals. So that is the ratio of modulus to specific weight. It is also called as specific modulus. Okay. Similarly, the ratio of tensile strength to weight, you can see that the ratio of the tensile strength, this to the product of density into acceleration due to gravity, is 4.72, 22.3, 11.7 up to 17.4 for metals, right? So these are for metals, and after that you see the ratio, right? The ratio is 101.9, is 77.5, 53.8, 53.2, 101.8, 48.1, 38, 8.9, right? So again you will appreciate that the ratio of tensile strength to weight for composites is significantly higher than that of the metals. That is, the composites will be giving either similar or better tensile strength than that of the metals, but at a much lower weight. The important thing is weight, right? And weight is an important criteria in applications such as aerocraft, high performance automobile applications, right? Satellites, spacecraft. Is it okay? So now I think you will be able to appreciate why one should go for composites. So now let us look into certain differences between the metals and fiber reinforced composites. Like metals have lower strength to weight ratio and modulus to weight ratio, whereas fiber reinforced composites have higher strength to weight ratio and modulus to weight ratio as compared to metals that we discussed now. Fatigue strength and fatigue damage tolerances are inferior to composites. Fatigue strength and fatigue damage tolerances are superior in fiber reinforced composites. What is fatigue? Fatigue is either a static fatigue or a dynamic fatigue. In a static fatigue, the load is applied on a composite and it is not removed, right? And in dynamic fatigue, the application of load is cyclic. That is, you apply a load, remove a load, apply a load, remove a load. Okay, so the fatigue properties for fiber reinforced composites are better than that of the metals, and that is why this composite materials are suitable for aerospace applications, automobile and other applications. Now metals have isotropic properties, like if you test the property of metal in any direction it will be same, but composites have anisotropic properties. Higher properties will be available in the direction of orientation of reinforcement. Okay, suppose all the reinforcements are aligned in this direction, in the direction of the arrow, in the direction in which I am moving this red pointer, right? So the properties will be higher in this direction and the properties will be lower in the direction perpendicular to it. So higher properties when load is applied along the reinforcement direction, and lower properties at different angles to direction of reinforcement, and lowest property in a direction perpendicular to the orientation of reinforcement, right? So now what is the advantage of this? Suppose I need to develop a product in which maximum stress is going to act at an angle of 45 degree, right? 45 degree to the axis of the material. But if I take a metal, I cannot improve a property in 45 degree because in all directions the property will be same. But for composites, I can change the orientation of the reinforcement such that all the reinforcements are aligned at 45 degree, and I can ensure that the reinforcements are bearing the or performing under the application of higher stress at an angle of 45 degree to the axis of the composite. Now designing of metals is easier, whereas designing of composites is difficult because of its anisotropic nature. Metals exhibit yield point and plastic deformation, whereas the composites tensile stress strain characteristics are nearly elastic, like they will move up to the elastic limit and they will break. Now this is a very simpler term, but as it is composed of two materials, there are slight variations to it, and even composite will exhibit yield point and plastic deformation. Like composite also won't go under a catastrophic failure and immediately composite भी break नहीं हो जाएगा, जैसे metal भी yield point के बाद थोड़ा सा plastic deformation देगा, composites भी वैसा देंगे, right? Those details we will be seeing later. Now coefficient of thermal expansion is higher for metals and so poor dimensional stability. Like if I hit a metal तो वो क्या होगा, easily expand हो जाएगा, But for fiber reinforced composites, if I heat it there, then the expansion won't be that high. Coefficient of thermal expansion is lower for composites, so better dimensional stability over a wide range of temperature. High electrical conductivity for metals. So this can be an advantage for metals, whereas low electrical conductivity for fiber reinforced composites, right? So because of lower electrical conductivity, suppose there is a lightning which strikes the composite material, then as it does not conduct the electricity, then that can lead to the damage to that part. So here the metal has an advantage. Now the ratio of thermal conductivity to weight for metals is lower. Again here there is an advantage for fiber reinforced composite, like higher thermal conductivity to weight ratio. Like carbon fiber's conductivity is even better than that of the copper, right? But its weight is much lower, and thereby we are saying that if I produce a composite out of a carbon fiber, the ratio of thermal conductivity to the weight of the composite of carbon fiber and the matrix will be higher in case of fiber reinforced composite. Then low vibrational energy absorption in case of metals, whereas the vibrational energy absorption or internal damping of fiber reinforced composite will be very high when compared to that of metals, and thereby low noise and vibrations will be transferred to the neighboring structure of the composite. Now we all know that metals can undergo corrosion, whereas fiber reinforced composite exhibit a non-corroding behavior. Okay, so these are the differences between the metal and fiber reinforced composites. Now let us look into the next point, that is classification or types of composites. Now composites are classified according to the reinforcement and according to the matrix. So in this class I will be just dealing with the classification according to reinforcement, and later we'll be seeing some reinforcements which are used into the composite materials. High performance reinforcement which are used into the composite materials. Now composites on the basis of reinforcement can be classified as particle reinforced composite, fiber reinforced composite, or a structural reinforced composite. And our area of interest or focus for your syllabus will be only concentrated on this fiber reinforced composite. So fiber reinforced composite is classified as continuous fiber reinforced composite or a discontinuous fiber reinforced composite. And this discontinuous fiber reinforced composite is further classified as aligned and randomly oriented. Aligned means all the short fibers are oriented in one single direction, and randomly oriented means the fibers are oriented in all the possible directions. Okay, right. And particle fiber reinforced composites, they are mostly added, or particles are mostly added to the matrix to reduce the cost and to act as a filler, which improves the dimensional stability. So it is classified as large particle or dispersion strengthened, whereas structural composites will be classified as laminates and sandwich panels. So we will be briefly discussing on what is a laminate in the next slides. Right, fiber reinforcement used in composites. So as I was saying, fiber can be reinforcing the matrix in either a continuous or a discontinuous form. Right, now so these are two examples. Now this is a composite, right, in which you can see that these are the fibers, these are the continuous fibers. So this is a continuous fiber reinforced composite, or this is the continuous fiber which is reinforcing the matrix, and these are discontinuous fibers. So discontinuous fibers are reinforcing the matrix to produce a discontinuous fiber reinforced composite. Now here the reinforcement is in fibrous form, and matrix can be in different forms, right? Matrix can be viscous initially. Initially the matrix can be viscous, or it can be in liquid form or viscous form like epoxy resin, unsaturated polyester resin, vinyl ester resin, right? And after solidification it becomes solid. After cooling it becomes solid, right? Similarly in case of thermoplastic, initially it can be a melt of thermoplastic like polypropylene melt or polyester melt, or it can also be in form of a dry fiber, right? But once we melt it, it will flow, and once again after melting, when we cool it down, it will again be a solid. but reinforcement will always be in a fibrous form in a fiber reinforced composite. Are you getting it? Matrix क्या होता है? Matrix can be in viscous form, right? Like epoxy resin. अब मैं इसमें क्या करूंगा, पहले ये सारे फाइबर्स यहाँ पे रखें, फिर इसके ऊपर मैं वो विस्कस मैट्रिक्स को डाल दूंगा, ठीक है? फिर मैं क्या करूंगा, उसको या तो रूम टेम्परेचर पे कूलिंग के लिए रखूंगा, या तो मैं उसका क्यूरिंग करूंगा अंडर प्रेशर और अंडर हीट. तो एक बार जब वो कूल हो जाता है, देन इट बिकम्स अ सॉलिड एंड द मैट्रिक्स विल पेनिट्रेट थ्रू आउट द रीइंफोर्समेंट, राइट? अगर थर्मोप्लास्टिक मैट्रिक्स है तो समझो पॉलीप्रोपिलीन के ग्रैन्यूल्स थे, उसको मैंने मेल्ट किया, मेल्ट करके मैंने इसमें डाल दिया, ठीक है? इसमें डालने के बाद फिर मैंने उसको क्या कर दिया, कूल कर दिया. कूल करने के बाद वो सॉलिडिफाई हो गया, right? It can be also in the form of fibers that is a hybrid yarn. So the details of that we may discuss in our further classes. Okay. Now, as I was saying that in very short, I will be telling you about what is a lamina and a laminate. So what is a lamina? Lamina is a single layer of matrix in which we add the reinforcing fibers. Now lamina can be a unidirectional continuous fibers. अब ये देखो, इसमें मैट्रिक्स है, जो आपको ग्रे कलर का दिख रहा है वो मैट्रिक्स है, जो ब्लैक कलर की कंटिन्यूअस लाइंस दिख रही है, those are your continuous fibers, right? And see, all these fibers are oriented in one direction, right? That is why it is called as unidirectional continuous fibrous composite or unidirectional continuous fibrous lamina. बायडायरेक्शनल कंटिन्यूअस फाइबर्स, ये आपका वोवन फैब्रिक है, इसमें इस डायरेक्शन में भी थ्रेड्स है, इस डायरेक्शन में भी थ्रेड्स है, और इसमें मैट्रिक्स भी है. तो इट इज अ बायडायरेक्शनल कंटिन्यूअस फाइबरस लैमिना. नाउ दिस इज मल्टी डायरेक्शनल कंटिन्यूअस फाइबर्स, एंड इस डायरेक्शन में भी फाइबर है, इस डायरेक्शन में भी है, इस डायरेक्शन में भी है, इस डायरेक्शन में भी. इन ऑल पॉसिबल डायरेक्शंस द फाइबर्स आर प्रेजेंट इन कंटिन्यूअस फॉर्म. Then there is a unidirectional discontinuous fibers. You can see the fibers are discontinuous. इधर फाइबर छोटे छोटे हैं, but all the fibers are aligned in this particular direction. So this is a unidirectional discontinuous fiber lamina, and this is a random discontinuous fiber. So कैसे भी fiber arranged है randomly, right? So this is a random discontinuous fibers. Now depending on the load that a composite has to sustain, or depending upon the thickness requirement of a composite for a final application, मैं इसके इन सारे इनको अलग अलग layers में क्या कर सकता हूँ, stack कर सकता हूँ. So when I stack these materials, now here you can see in the top lamina, this one single sheet is a lamina, right? This is second lamina, this is third lamina, this is fourth lamina, fifth lamina, sixth lamina, 8 laminas के आसपास होंगे इसमें. So once I keep all these lamina on top of each other and then I compress it from top and bottom, I apply a pressure, then I form a single structure out of this all lamina, and that is called as a laminate. So what is a laminate? A laminate is the combination of certain or several plies of lamina. Are you getting it? अब यहाँ पे देखो, हर लैमिना में फाइबर का डायरेक्शन अलग है. टॉप लैमिना में आप देखोगे the fibers are oriented in this direction. In second lamina, the fibers are oriented in this direction. In third lamina, the fibers are oriented in this direction. Here you can see the top lamina is of continuous fibers. बाकी सारे lamina except the last lamina are in discontinuous form. So it depends on application. Is it clear? So the stacked or several plies of lamina is nothing but a laminate. और हर lamina के अंदर आपका reinforcement और matrix दोनों है. Is it okay? Right. Now what we have discussed? We have discussed the difference between metals. We have discussed the difference between metals and fiber reinforced composites. As well as what we have seen is that we have seen the classification of composite according to reinforcement. Also, we have seen what is the difference between a lamina and laminate. Now we will see brief description of high performance fibers which are used as reinforcement in composites. We won't be discussing in detail. The details of all these fibers will be studied in the course on technical fibers, right? Which I will be starting shortly once I complete the 2 units for this composite course. Is it okay? Now remember, fiber is the most important component of a composite, right? It is responsible for the strength and modulus of the composite, and fiber type, fiber orientation, then fiber type we have discussed, fiber orientation we have discussed, fiber length. So these are important criteria along with fiber volume fraction. So all these properties of fiber are to be selected depending upon the application for which the composite is intended for. Is it clear? Right. So now first we will look into the carbon fiber. So carbon fibers are commercially available with a variety of tensile modulus values ranging from 207 gigapascal to 1035 gigapascal. So if you have seen the lecture carefully, the first lecture carefully, in that I was saying that there is a carbon fiber which can have a modulus similar to that of steel, which is around this 207 gigapascal, but its weight will be very much lower. So the ratio of modulus of carbon fiber to its specific weight will be very high, right? And carbon fibers we can obtain around 1000 gigapascals also. Even today, still higher modulus carbon fibers can be obtained. Is it okay? So carbon fibers are commercially available with a wide variety of tensile modulus ranging from 207 gigapascal to 1035 gigapascal. So this 207 gigapascal can be called as a low modulus high strength carbon fiber, and this can be known as high modulus low strength carbon fiber. जिस कार्बन फाइबर का मॉडुलस ज्यादा होता है उसका स्ट्रेंथ क्या होता है, कम होता है. क्यों होता है वो हम टेक्निकल फाइबर सब्जेक्ट में देखेंगे. So in general, a low modulus fiber like this 207 gigapascal will have lower density, it will have lower cost, it will have higher tensile and compressive strengths and higher tensile strength to failure than high modulus fiber. उसका डेंसिटी कम होगा, उसका कॉस्ट कम होगा, उसका टेंसाइल एंड कंप्रेसिव प्रॉपर्टीज अच्छा होगा लो मॉड्यूलस फाइबर का, और उसका टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ टू फेल्यूर यानी एनर्जी एब्सॉर्प्शन, अगर मैंने उस पर इम्पैक्ट फोर्स किया या कुछ चीज मैंने उसके ऊपर ड्रॉप कर दी तो वो उसका एनर्जी एब्सॉर्ब कर पाएगा. देन हाई मॉड्यूलस फाइबर. सो व्हाट विल बी द प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ हाई मॉड्यूलस फाइबर? इट विल बी higher density, it will be higher cost, it will be lower tensile and compressive strength, and it will be lower tensile strength to failure for high modulus fiber. So high modulus fiber will be brittle fiber, but its modulus will be very high. Now among the advantages of carbon fibers are there exceptionally high tensile strength to weight ratio. Now this is your homework, right? You have to compare the tensile strength to weight ratio or calculate the tensile strength to weight ratio and tensile modulus to weight ratio of carbon fibers to that of steel, right? You also know the tensile strength to weight ratio and tensile modulus to weight ratio of carbon composites, right? यानी जब कार्बन फाइबर में मैं मैट्रिक्स डालता हूं तो ये रेशियो उसका स्ट्रेंथ टू वेट रेशियो और मॉडुलस टू वेट रेशियो का क्या होता है, चेंज हो जाता है. तो क्या डिफरेंस आता है वो आपको देखना है. मैं आपको सारी वैल्यूज भी दूंगा कार्बन फाइबर्स की, टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ की, मॉडुलस की, डेंसिटी की. तो आपको उससे कंपेयर करना है पिछले वाले टेबल से जिसमें हमारे पास कंपोजिट का टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ टू वेट रेशियो है, मॉडुलस टू वेट रेशियो है, और स्टील का भी टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ टू वेट रेशियो है एंड मॉडुलस टू वेट रेशियो. देन वेरी लो कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ लीनियर थर्मल एक्सपांशन, राइट? सो इट विल बी अ डायमेंशनली स्टेबल फाइबर, यानी इसमें मैंने हीट लगाया तो एक्सपांड नहीं होगा इतना इजीली. हाई फेटिक स्ट्रेंथ, सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ कार्बन फाइबर व्हेन कंपेयर्ड टू दैट ऑफ ग्लास फाइबर. ग्लास फाइबर की फेटिक प्रॉपर्टीज क्या है, बहुत पुअर है. एंड हाई thermal conductivity. So this is another important criteria for the or important property of the carbon fiber. अब कार्बन फाइबर का डिसएडवांटेज क्या है? एज आई वाज डिस्कसिंग, उसका एनर्जी एब्सॉर्प्शन कम है, वो ब्रिटल फाइबर है. दैट इज इट्स स्ट्रेन टू फेल्यूर इज लोअर, यानी वो थोड़ा भी एक्सटेंड होगा तो क्या होगा, टूट जाएगा. दैट इज इट हैज लो इम्पैक्ट रेजिस्टेंस. वही है, थ्रू लो स्ट्रेन टू फेल्यूर मीन्स इट हैज लो इम्पैक्ट रेजिस्टेंस. इट्स एरिया अंडर द लोड इलोंगेशन कर्व इज poor, its toughness is poor, but its electrical conductivity is high. Now this is also an advantage. Now let me tell you an example for this. During my PhD on a sample weaving machine, I was producing a fabric out of carbon fibers. Now that machine was not designed for producing the fabric for carbon fibers, but even then I was producing. So what happened is that the carbon fiber, single carbon fiber, which is very less in diameter, around suppose 7 microns, वो क्या हो गया, वो उड़ के ना मशीन के इलेक्ट्रिकल सर्किट बोर्ड में जाके बैठ गया. एंड देन देयर वाज अ शॉर्टिंग एंड वी वेर नॉट एबल टू स्टार्ट द मशीन फॉर अ लॉन्ग पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द डिसएडवांटेजेस ऑफ कार्बन फाइबर, दैट इज अ high electrical conductivity. Now this can be a disadvantage in certain applications like I mentioned, and it can also be an advantage in certain applications like electromagnetic shielding, right? So these are the advantages and disadvantages of the carbon fiber. Another disadvantage of the carbon fiber is high cost. So their high cost has so far excluded them from widespread commercial applications. So commercial applications में आपको नहीं मिलेगा, वो आपको ना niche segments में मिलेगा. Like they are mostly used in aerospace industry. Aerospace industry में cost कोई मायने नहीं रखता, वहाँ पे performance जरूरी है. Where weight saving is considered the more critical than cost. Are you getting it? So these are the advantages like high tensile strength to weight ratio, high tensile modulus to weight ratio, very low coefficient of linear thermal expansion, fatigue strength, that is repeated application of load and removal of load is better. The carbon fibers will still be able to retain their properties even after repeated application and removal of load, and it has high thermal conductivity. Problem is it has low impact resistance, it has low strength to failure, and it has high electrical conductivity, and its cost is high. Okay. So now carbon fibers are manufactured from two types of precursors, namely textile precursor and pitch precursor. So this textile precursor is nothing but a polyacrylonitrile fiber which we obtain from weight spinning, and this pitch precursor is obtained from petroleum products. So details of the manufacturing of the carbon fibers we will be studying in the course on technical fibers. Now carbon fibers are available in three basic forms, namely long and continuous tow. What is a tow? A tow is nothing but a collection of filaments. Suppose if I say that it is a 6K carbon tow, इसका मतलब क्या? उसके अंदर 6000 कार्बन के फिलामेंट्स हैं. एक एक कार्बन का फाइबर नहीं होता है, राइट? It is available in the form of a tow. What is a tow? It is a collection of filaments, right? If I say 12K carbon fiber, then it will be having around 12,000 filaments in a single tow. Then chopped. Chopped यानी क्या? जो continuous long fiber है, it is chopped to a length of 6 to 50 mm long, and there are milled fibers which are available in a length of 30 to 3000 millimeter long. The long and continuous tow, which is simply an untwisted bundle of 1000 to 1,60,000 parallel filaments, is used for high performance applications. So this is again defining the tow. So what is tow? It is a collection of filaments, and other property of tow is that it should be twistless. It is untwisted bundle of filaments. Okay. Now let us discuss on glass fibers. Now we studied the carbon fibers. Now glass fibers are the most common of all reinforcing fibers for polymeric matrix composites. Okay. The principal advantage of glass fibers are low cost, high tensile strength, high chemical resistance, and excellent insulating properties. So the most common of high performance fiber which is used in composites is glass fibers, and it is mostly used in polymer matrix composites, not in metal matrix or ceramic matrix, right? And glass fiber के advantage क्या क्या है? Its cost is lower. The problem with carbon fiber was its cost was higher. Then its tensile strength is high. Yes, carbon fiber's tensile strength is also high, but glass fiber's tensile strength is also high, and it has high chemical and excellent insulating properties. So this is an important property for glass fibers कि उसकी insulating properties क्या है? बहुत ज़्यादा है. But if you see carbon fibers की electrical conductivity भी अच्छी है, thermal conductivity भी अच्छी है. तो जहाँ पे conductivity के applications है, वहाँ पे हमको carbon fiber use करना है. ठीक है? जहाँ पे हमें इंसुलेशन चाहिए, वहाँ पे हमें क्या करना है? ग्लास फाइबर यूज करना है. ठीक है. Now the problem with glass fiber is that it has got a low tensile modulus. कार्बन फाइबर का मॉडुलस क्या है? इट इज अ हाई मॉडुलस फाइबर, जबकि ग्लास फाइबर का क्या है? मॉडुलस कम है. डेंसिटी ज्यादा है. अब देखो कार्बन फाइबर की डेंसिटी होगी अराउंड 1.5 to 1.6 ग्राम पर सीसी, बट दी डेंसिटी ऑफ ग्लास फाइबर विल बी अबाउट 2.5 ग्राम पर सीसी. तो उसका वेट थोड़ा ज्यादा है व्हेन कंपेयर टू दैट ऑफ कार्बन फाइबर्स. इट इज सेंसिटिव टू एब्रेजन ड्यूरिंग हैंडलिंग. तो कार्बन फाइबर्स क्या होते हैं? दे आर इजीली एब्रेडेड, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट इट्स स्ट्रेंथ रिड्यूसेस, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट वंस द कार्बन फाइबर्स आर प्रोड्यूस्ड दे हैव टू बी कोटेड विद सर्टेन काइंड ऑफ अ साइज, राइट, which has anti-static agent in it, which has lubricant in it, which has film former in it, right? So those details we'll be discussing. That is to improve the abrasion resistance of the glass fibers. ग्लास फाइबर्स हैव रिलेटिवली लो फैटिग रेजिस्टेंस एंड हैव हाई हार्डनेस. उसका फैटिग रेजिस्टेंस कम है. फैटिग रेजिस्टेंस यानी इट कैन बी आइदर अ स्टैटिक फैटिग और अ डायनामिक फैटिग. स्टैटिक फैटिग यानी कंपोजिट पे लोड लगा के रखा फॉर लॉन्गर ड्यूरेशन, एंड डायनामिक फैटिग यानी लोड अप्लाई किया और रिमूव किया, अप्लाई किया और रिमूव किया. दैट इज अ साइक्लिक एप्लीकेशन ऑफ लोड. Now carbon fibers were having a better fatigue properties, or they had excellent fatigue properties, but glass fibers have relatively lower fatigue resistance. And hardness, the hardness of the glass fiber is very high. Kyunki now what happens is that because of the high hardness of the glass fibers, it damages the molding dies and cutting tools. So what are these molding dies and cutting tools? We will discuss when we look into the manufacturing of the glass fiber reinforced composites. Now glass fibers are amorphous in nature, they are non-crystalline and isotropic. So this is an important differentiating property of glass fiber to that of carbon fiber. Glass fiber की properties क्या है? Isotropic. It has similar properties in all directions, but carbon fibers are highly anisotropic. यानी जिस डायरेक्शन में फिलामेंट्स ओरिएंटेड है कार्बन फाइबर में, उस डायरेक्शन में आपकी प्रॉपर्टीज सबसे ज्यादा अच्छी है, एंड एट एनी अदर एंगल टू दी orientation of the reinforcement or to the orientation of the carbon fibers, the properties of carbon fibers are poor. But in glass fibers, the properties are isotropic in nature. Now, the glass fibers, the main constituent in the manufacturing of the glass fiber is silica. The problem with silica is its melting temperature is very high, and to reduce this melting temperature of silica, certain amount of impurities are added to silica. So these details we'll be studying in the course on technical fibers. Now these are different types of glass fibers that are available. Now this is AR glass, that is alkali resistant glass. It is C glass, this is corrosion resistant glass. Then this is E glass, this is electrical insulation glass. This is S glass, that is a high strength glass, right? So these are different names: sodium lime silicate glass, like calcium boron silicate glass, alumina calcium borosilicate glass, magnesium aluminosilicate glass. Now I was saying that the main ingredient is silicon. Main ingredient is silica, not silicon. It is silica, that is silica dioxide, right? And these are the impurities which are added to the silica to reduce its melting temperature and to produce different types of glass fiber. Their composition varies, right? Then E-glass fiber has the lowest cost and thereby it is having a widespread use. सबसे ज़्यादा जो glass fiber use होता है वो E-glass use होता है क्योंकि उसका cost कम है और उसकी mechanical properties भी काफ़ी अच्छी है. S-glass is a high cost fiber because it has a higher tensile properties and it is used in military applications. A lower cost version of S-glass is S2 glass, right? Although S2 glass is manufactured with less stringent non-military specification, its tensile strength and modulus are similar to that of S class. Okay, now let us move on to the different varieties in which the glass fibers are available. So glass fibers are available in the form of a strand. Carbon fiber में जो tau था, that is a collection of filament, right? Here it is called as a strand. Strand is again a collection of filament. Roving is collection of strands. Around 30 strands जब मैं collect करूँगा, I will be able to produce a roving. Pre-preg is pre-impregnated reinforcement. So these things we'll be discussing later. And chopped strand जो भी एक continuous collection of filaments है, उनको जब मैं काटूंगा एक particular short length में, then I will be obtaining a chopped strand. And ये chopped strand से जब मैं non-woven fabric बनाता हूँ chemical से bind करके, then that is called as a chopped strand mat, right? And it is also available in form of milled glass fibers. ये जो भी short fibers थे, इसको हम further chopping करते हैं to obtain the milled glass fibers. And it is also available in woven glass roving and woven glass cloth. Roving means it should be twistless, right? तो जो twistless roving से fabric बना है, that is woven glass roving. And woven glass cloth जो है, it is obtained from a twisted roving. Is it okay? Right. So now let us move on to the another fiber. The next fiber is aramide fiber. Aramide fiber is used in the soft body armor, which is used for ballistic protection, and it is also used in fire protection. Aramide fibers are used in marine and aerospace applications. Why? Because they are lightweight. इसका density around 1.4 gram per cc होगा. Its tensile strength is high, and its resistance to impact damage. Again, I'm saying what is the resistance to impact damage that is caused by accidental dropping of a hand tool are important. So energy absorption of aramid fibers is better, much better than that of the carbon fiber. Carbon fiber में हमने डिस्कस किया कि कार्बन फाइबर्स आर ब्रिटल इन नेचर, उनका एनर्जी एब्सॉर्प्शन पुअर है, उनका स्ट्रेंथ टू फेल्यूर पुअर है, राइट. बट aramid fibers are lightweight, high tensile strength, and important advantage is they are having a high energy absorption. इसीलिए वो बुलेट का एनर्जी एब्सॉर्ब कर सकते हैं, and that is why aramid fibers are being used in ballistic protection, right, for soft body armors. Like carbon fibers, aramid fibers also have a negative coefficient of thermal expansion. Now what is the negative coefficient of thermal expansion? अगर मैंने मटेरियल को हीट किया तो नॉर्मल टेंडेंसी इज दैट मटेरियल शुड एक्सपांड, पर जिनका कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ थर्मल एक्सपांशन नेगेटिव होता है, those materials instead of expanding they will contract, right, and thereby they are used in designing low thermal expansion composite panels. अब डिसएडवांटेज क्या है aramid fiber का? The main disadvantage with the aramid fiber reinforced composites are their low compressive strength. So what is a compressive strength? I will tell you later. So in a compressive strength, the aramid fibers cannot perform well, and there is difficulty in cutting or machining. Even अगर आपके पास अगर aramid का फैब्रिक आएगा तो आप उसको नॉर्मल कैंची से नहीं काट सकते. You will need a different kind of scissor for it, or you may need a electrical scissor for it, or the scissor should have a very high amount of sharpening, right? So तो ही वो मटेरियल को काट पाएगा. Otherwise the cut resistance of aramid fibers is very high. The repeating units in its molecule contains a NH group which is also found in nylons, and it also has an aromatic ring. तो जो aramid में जो repeating unit है वो single bond NH group है, which is also found in nylons, और additionally उसके पास क्या है, aromatic ring है. So इस aromatic ring के वजह से इन aramid fibers की properties nylon से different है. The aromatic ring gives it a higher chain stiffness, that is modulus, as well as better chemical and thermal stability over the commercial organic fibers such as nylons. Now aramid fibers is obtained from the polycondensation of terephthalate chloride and p-phenylenediamine diamine. So इसके details we will be studying in the course on technical fibers. Now Kevlar is one type of aramid fiber which is produced by the company which is DuPont. So Kevlar is a trade name of the aramid fiber which is produced by DuPont, and it is available in the market. So one interesting application of this Kevlar 49 fiber, Kevlar के अलग अलग type होते हैं, Kevlar 29, Kevlar 49, Kevlar 129, like, तो उसमें जो Kevlar 49 fiber है, it is used in soft lightweight body armors and helmets used for protecting police officers and military personnel. But the disadvantage with the aramid fiber is that उनका ultraviolet light का resistance कम है, right? Prolonged exposure to sunlight causes discoloration and significant loss in tensile strength. And the problem is less pronounced in composite laminates. Composite laminates में ये sunlight और ultraviolet light का ज़्यादा effect नहीं आएगा because the fibers are shielded by the matrix material. The problem is less pronounced in composite laminates in which the fibers are covered with a matrix. Ultraviolet light absorbing fillers can be added to the matrix to further reduce the problem. Next, we will look into the gel spun high performance polyethylene fiber or the ultra high molecular weight polyethylene fibers. So gel spun high performance polyethylene fibers are produced from polyethylene which is having a very high molecular weight, or it is having a ultra high molecular weight. That is why it is called as a ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. These fibers are produced by the process known as gel spinning. For now, just remember that ultra high molecular weight polyethylene fibers are produced by gel spinning. What is gel spinning? We will study in technical fibers. The primary properties of the gel spun fibers or the gels or ultra high molecular weight polyethylene is available under the trade name of Dyneema and Spectra. So Dyneema fibers is produced by DSM in Netherlands and by the combination of Toyoba and DSM. These are companies which have collaborated together in Japan. तो Toyoba और DSM मिलके जापान में Dyneema fiber बनाते हैं और DSM कंपनी नेदरलैंड में Dyneema fiber बनाता है. Whereas Spectra fiber is produced by a company known as Honeywell in USA. So this Dyneema and Spectra fibers are high strength and high modulus in combination with low density of the fibers. Their density is less than that of the water. High performance polyethylene fibers have a density slightly less than 1, that is it is less than water, so it floats on the water. वो उसके अंदर डूबेगा नहीं. As all the chains in the fibers are aligned in the fiber direction, the mechanical properties are highly anisotropic. Like glass fiber was isotropic, carbon fiber was anisotropic. Similarly, ultra high molecular weight polyethylene fiber is anisotropic fiber. यानी the fibers in the direction of orientation of the fibers is very high and the properties perpendicular to it are low or lower in any other angle to the direction of orientation of fibers. In the transverse direction, as I was discussing, the modulus and strength are much lower than that in the fiber direction. Now, Dyneema and spectra fibers can absorb extremely high amounts of energy. Dyneema and spectra can absorb extremely high amount of energy, and they are also very lightweight. Like aramide fiber bhi bulletproof mein suitable hai, but its density is only around 1.4 or 1.5 gram per cc. But Dyneema or spectra ka density kitna hai? It is less than water. It is less than 1. So it is still lighter, right? Still lighter, and it is giving better properties than aramide fiber. So it is also finding applications in the ballistic protection. This property is utilized in products for ballistic protection, that is high energy absorption at lower weight. But it makes the fibers equally suitable for products such as cut resistant gloves and motor helmets. So ye bhi hai na, they also have an excellent cut resistant, right, like the aramide fibers. इनको भी हम easily normal कैंची से नहीं काट सकते, right? They have good fatigue properties. Like fatigue properties were also good in case of carbon fibers. Even in case of aramide fibers, the fatigue properties were good, but in case of glass fibers, the fatigue properties were poor. Wear and abrasion properties are also better for ultra high molecular weight polyethylene fiber. Now see, this is the problem with the ultra high molecular weight polyethylene fiber is that they will melt around 144 to 155 degree, whereas aramide को 400 degree तक कुछ नहीं होता है, right? So that is how the aramide fibers are different from the Dyneema and spectra fiber. Dyneema का क्या है, 144 से 155 डिग्री के मेल्ट हो जाएगा, बट उसका वेट लाइट है और एनर्जी एब्सॉर्प्शन भी अच्छा है. अरामाइड का भी एनर्जी एब्सॉर्प्शन अच्छा है, बट वो थोड़ा हेवियर है, बट उसका मेल्टिंग पॉइंट क्या है, थोड़ा ज्यादा है. And finally, we will be discussing into silicon carbide fiber. The silicon carbide fiber is mostly used in the ceramic matrix composites, and it is used for reinforcement of ceramic matrix. Now, silicon carbide has a structure similar to diamond and is attractive as a reinforcement in view of its low density and high stiffness and strength, combined with good thermal stability and thermal conductivity. तो silicon carbide का क्या है, डेंसिटी कम है, उसका मॉडुलस एंड स्टिफनेस काफी ज्यादा है, स्ट्रेंथ भी काफी अच्छा है, and it is combined with good thermal stability and thermal conductivity. Its thermal stability is also good, that is its coefficient of thermal expansion will be lower and its thermal conductivity is also higher. But the problem is silicon carbide can be easily produced in the form of powder, but producing it in the form of fiber is difficult. Okay, it is much easier to synthesize than diamond. Diamond से production इसका easy है and can be produced readily in large quantities in form of such as powder. That is what I was saying, like it can be easily produced in the form of powder, but producing silicon carbide in the form of fibers is difficult. Production of fibers in large quantities is more problematic and several different routes have been developed. Like to produce the silicon carbide in fibrous form, monofilaments from chemical vapor deposition. Chemical vapor deposition is a technique for production of silicon carbide in the form of fiber. And also it is multifilaments of silicon carbide are produced from polycarbosilane and whiskers. Now fibers exhibit very high values of tensile strength and modulus due to their structure, which is amorphous in many cases, and they have lower creep rates at higher temperature. What is creep? Creep is a time dependent extension. समझो एक मटेरियल है, उसके ऊपर मैंने continuously load लगा के रखा, तो it will show extension with time, right? So this change in extension of a silicon carbide fiber even at higher temperatures is lower. That is why they are having a lower creep rate and better creep properties. Disadvantages of these fibers are they are susceptible to oxidation, which leads to fiber degradation in an oxidizing atmosphere over time. So silicon carbide should be avoided in the applications where there is an oxidizing atmosphere. Okay, right. Now this is your homework. These are the properties of selected commercial reinforcing fibers, like glass fibers are there, carbon fibers are there, aramide will be there, Kevlar will be there, ultra high molecular weight polyethylene will be there, and other fibers are described here. So again, their density is given, their tensile modulus is given, their tensile strength is given, coefficient of thermal expansion is given, Poisson's ratio is given, right? And in next slide also there are other fibers like ultra molecular weight polyethylene fibers and silicon carbide fibers, right? So now what is your homework? You have to compare the tensile strength to weight ratio as well as modulus to weight ratio of the fibers, only fibers. I'm not speaking about composites, only fibers like carbon fiber, glass fiber, aramide fiber, ultra molecular weight polyethylene fiber and silicon carbide fibers to that of कंपोजिट्स मेड फ्रॉम दिस फाइबर्स. ऊपर जो एक टेबल दिया था वहां पे जो भी फाइबर का कंपोजिट अवेलेबल है, जैसे ग्लास का अवेलेबल है, कार्बन का कंपोजिट का अवेलेबल है, राइट? कई कई केसेस में मैंने अरामाइड का भी देखा था उसमें, राइट? सो यू हैव टू कंपेयर द टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ टू वेट रेशियो ऑफ द फाइबर्स, composites and metals, right? And you have to tell me whether the tensile strength to weight ratio is higher for fibers or it is higher for composites or it is higher for metals, okay? And whether does the tensile strength to weight ratio reduce after forming the composite? फाइबर में शायद ज्यादा होता होगा बहुत, लेकिन कंपोजिट बनाने के बाद उसका टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ टू वेट रेशियो क्या होता है? कम होता है, फिर भी वो मेटल से अच्छा रहता है. तो मैट्रिक्स के साथ कंबाइन करने पे कम क्यों होता है, ये आपको मेरे को बताना है. इज इट ओके? राइट, थैंक यू.